Me and my boyfriend are saving, but we barely see each other during the week, and it feels like we're working our off for nothing. Why is everything so expensive? Why am I making more money waitressing than I would make using my college degree? I barely have a life. I have 2 days off, and I work Wednesday to Sunday, doubling just to pay my bills. At 22 years old, all of my bills are in my name. I have no help. How are y'all affording housing? In Myrtle Beach, a 1-bedroom apartment is $1,500. How are y'all getting insurance, going to the doctor, getting medicine? And then some of us are trying to be TikTok influencers. Who knows where that's going to get me? Me and my boyfriend are saving, but we barely see each other during the week, and it feels like we're working our off for nothing. Do we need to move somewhere for a better job opportunity that we don't know about? Do any of y'all really know what you want to do with your life right now? It is so scary being in America right now.
Honestly, it is really hard to think or say which is worse, to be broke in your 20s or broke in your 30s. Looking all the stories of, having this very hard life, a lot of these people are struggling. Uh, you need to understand that it is not only one cause of all this, very bad labor market, very bad inflation. There are multiple different, negative impacts that happen not only in the US but around the world, and they all happen at the same time. Sure, you can go that out of conspiracy that everything was kind of planned and kind of structured, but generally speaking, if you want to stay more objective and just stick to the facts, it is very very bad luck for this generation. I would say bad luck for even previous generations, and I really don't know what is going to happen with the future generations, because sure, there is a small segment of very very young people right now that are doing very well. Are they lucky that they're just teens now when the AI is booming and they understand AI the way the previous kids understood video games? We're about to find out.
What am I doing wrong? I work every day and I'm still broke. Like, I have a decent job, I make some decent money, but I live out here in Cali. Like, bro, as soon as I get paid, I have all these bills stacked up, bro, that shit wipes me clean. Like, fuck, I got no money left over. Making $100,000 a year doesn't get you anywhere nowadays.
Hi guys, I'm really stressed today. I just went to the grocery store, bought 10 items, and it was $80 freaking dollars already. I literally have $10 left on my account. So a little backstory. I got laid off from my job a month ago, and I've been applying for jobs months before I got laid off. Sent out hundreds of resumes already. Applied to hundreds of jobs on the internet, remote and on-site. Tailored my resume to every position that I applied using ChatGPT. Went to only a few interviews and still nothing. Like, what the f is going on with America right now? Like, it's so freaking hard to live here.
I do understand that there is a very strong and powerful segment of life where if you're born in the right time, the beginning of the bull market, 40, 50 years ago, when you were born during the baby booming, right, you made tons of money without knowing anything more specific, more niche than other people. You just born in times where the economy was booming, everyone around the world, there was no longer wars, the inflation was very low, the federal interest rate was close to zero, the houses were at $150,000, everything was affordable, people were traveling and having a good life. Well, this was simply luck. You cannot choose when to be born, or what kind of economy live through, right? So I genuinely believe that if you want to stick to the facts, it's a very high chance that your life will be determined by luck. In which times you were born, you could have been born through the First World War or Second World War, right? It's not good.
Y'all, I just went today and got my driver's license renewed, my car tags renewed, picked up 2 prescriptions, and got a few groceries. To say that I'm completely broke now is an understatement. So I'm going to have to go home and start selling off my furniture to be able to live the rest of the month. I mean, it's unbelievable. And my heart hurts today, truly hurts for people who are not able. And we're
Bro, the cost of living is insane right now. Like, what are we doing? I swear before COVID in my area, $20 an hour was like, you balling, you good. Now, people that making $20 an hour, I'm like, man, how are they surviving? Like, this is insane. Fast food places are paying $20 an hour now. So $20 an hour is the new $10 an hour. Obviously, all of this is relative to where you live. So my $20 an hour where I live in Northern Virginia may be your $16 an hour, or maybe your $30 an hour. It all really depends on where you live. Like, I can't be the only one that sees this stuff. Like, I can't be the only one that understands what's going on. And it honestly worries me that there's some people out there that make less than that. Like, think about the people out there that's making minimum wage. Like, probably have to work 2 or 3 jobs just to make up for, you know, a livable income. It's insane.
I'm just mad. I'm just mad anymore. There's no reason for me to be like, yay, America, like, we're so great, we're so free, we're so powerful. I'm starving. I have to go without so that my kid can maybe have Pop-Tarts once a month. Shouldn't be that way. We shouldn't have to go like, let's see, we haven't had meat in like, a long time, because guess what? We can't afford it, okay? But yet we're the ones working every day to make this country go round and round. But we're not worth being able to have decent food, or the amount of food that we need to have one of our family members go without. I'm done. I'm so done. It shouldn't be this way. And I know that it's not just this way for me.
Living in America is freaking ridiculous right now. 2 to 3 grand on average. You need to make 2 to 3 times that. $9,000 a month. How many people with regular bachelor degrees are even making that? No one.
How do y'all enjoy your weekends when you're broke? Am I the only one saying this? But like, you ever work all week, you realize you ain't got no money, then the weekend rolls around, and you think to yourself, I can't enjoy it because I got no money to do nothing. I remember in the summertime, one time I was like, getting ready to go get gas to mow my lawn, and I realized I was broke and had to like take money off my overdraft, my checking account, just to buy fuel for my lawnmower. But I'm like, I just want to be able to enjoy my weekend and feel like I got a few extra dollars, or like when I'm mowing my lawn, I want to take pride in that. But I can't explain the feeling that you get when you're broke on a weekend. You just almost feel guilty.
You could have been born through the Shakespeare's times, right? Where people had a life expectancy of 30 years. Right? So again, the foundation, it's always luck, and then you should see, what you can actually do with your luck, what you can do with the current assets that you possess. You might be artistic, right? A lot of people utilize this. You might be very hard-working individual, very good in physical activities, right? Because people are praising side hustles. Side hustle means just another job. And people who work multiple different jobs, they don't get wealthy over time. They get tired over time, right? So you don't really get to find a solution for your issues or problems financially. You kind of try to patch certain financial gaps, try to pay off some of the bills, try to keep up with the inflation and the cost of living, but you don't really find a solution for your problems. So if you want to be objective, we're having a very, very bad luck at this very moment, right? Because we're still in process of changes. It's not, all settled down, and now people can actually, start to look around, try to find, okay, where the wind is blowing, how we're gonna actually build up the new careers, or reclassify, or at least respecialize our skill set. Things are still moving left and right. You don't really know what to learn. What if the AI bubble bursts like never before, and no one wants to touch AI for the next, let's say, 5 years?
Okay, so when exactly did middle class just become pure survival mode? I'm talking like the hunter-gatherer stage of humanity. Because think about it like this: just one mistake, one minute mistake away from sleeping under a bridge.
The quiet way, how many people are actually losing their buying power and effectively experiencing disinflationary pricing wherever they go only happens when they try to pay for something, right? The same thing, you don't understand how little you earn until you actually see your paycheck. You see all the deductions, you see all the taxes, right? The quiet way people going broke. And again, it has been happening. This is not a new thing. The thing is that now the escalation or the majority of the issues for people are becoming the money issue, right? Before it has always been like money issue plus something else, like money issue plus something else. Now it's money issue plus money issue. And as you can see, a lot of these people are experiencing almost the same problems. It always comes down from the economic standpoint, where the economy doesn't really reward the people who are working the hardest, or the people who have consistently worked at the same place, putting the same effort, showing up every single day. The idea here is that the economy currently is rewarding innovation, not stagnation.
Can someone please tell me that things are going to get better for the economy, for the world? Just someone please tell me that things are going to get better, bro, because I work from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., 2 jobs, and I'm just sitting on my lunch on my second job, and I just can't do this shit anymore. I told myself I would never work a second job again earlier this year, but bills are bills. You got to do what you got to do, but bro, I can't keep doing this shit. I'm tired, like everyone else.
I spent about an hour talking to my grandmother last night. She's 90 years old, and she's actually considering selling her home and her property because that's the country we live in right now. She's 90 years old, and she has to sell everything that she's ever earned. That's the country we live in right now. My grandfather was retired from the military. She has her Social Security. They both worked their whole lives, and she can't afford to live anymore. 90 years old. Put money away, did all the things, and now she has to be put in a position where she has to sell her home.
Even if the prices go lower, the wages will not go up. Even if people are rehired, the people who are fired, or at least part of them, they're still going to struggle because the prices will not go lower and the wages will not go up. Every single year, when the prices multiple times per year on certain items go up, your salary doesn't go up, doesn't catch up with the pace of the prices. And this gap has always been the rule. But the prices haven't skyrocketed this high, plus the devaluation or the buying power of your money hasn't gone down that drastically, that substantially as we've seen for the last couple of years. Consider that almost a quarter of all the money in circulation in US dollars have been printed throughout the virus situation, through the distribution of stimulus checks or any of the relief programs.
Out there is wondering how Americans are doing poorly. We are doing poorly. Yesterday, I woke up to an email from my landlord saying, hey, I'm raising your rent. Why? No reason. We already pay all of the utilities ourselves. That is not included in the rent. So we pay for electricity and we pay for water and we pay for natural gas to heat our home. And that bill in particular has skyrocketed this year. Every single month this winter, it was over $600. And we do not turn the heat on. We just turn it so that we can survive. We do not turn it above like 60. So we're freezing in the house all winter. Oh, and also I woke up this morning to an email from my health insurance being like, thanks for your payment. It was deducted automatically, except this time the payment was $400 more than it was last month. Sorry? What's going on? So I called the health insurance company and I was like, why did this happen? And they said, oh, well, the tax premium expired. And I said, tell me why that happened. Is that because of federal budget cuts? Is that because of the New York State budget? Where did that come from? And they said, we don't know. You have to call the New York State Department of Health.
I am so sick of how expensive it is to just live. Before I left work, I had to make sure I bought tickets to my kids' musical for school. And I'm going both nights, and then my parents and my husband's parents are going one night, and then we're going as a family one night. So I just paid for those tickets. For all those tickets all together, it was like $62 or something like that, 62. And then I left work, I got my kids to school, I had to get gas. I was on E. My gas light was on. I had busy like for the rest of the evening after I wake up after sleeping. So I was like, let me just do it. It just cost $78 to fill my tank. I do have a like a mid-size SUV. I have a Chevy Traverse. But literally before this day has even started, I have now spent $140. How the freak do you sustain life anymore? I don't know. It's so frustrating how expensive everything is. It's like every time you turn around, there's like something else to pay for. And I know that's being an adult and I know that's life, but it's so frustrating.
So you need to understand that when the velocity of money supply outnumbers the actual products, goods, and services produced from the consumers, well, then there is a natural latency in which inflation will catch up with and essentially fill up the gap. There's no space left behind. And like I mentioned, even if now a lot of businesses are showing up, they extend the working hours. They wanna, try to recoup the missed revenue by simply not having enough clients. People don't have enough spending power. They still cannot catch up with the previous pace. You see businesses compare month to month. The sales are down. They're not comparing quarter to quarter. They're not comparing year to date. Because the further back in time you go, the bigger the difference of your revenue or earnings actually comes to the end, right? You realize that you was making personally, or your business was making much more money, much easier throughout the virus situation years, right? And the main concept that you will see is that all these people, they want to work. They're not lazy. They want to work. They want to, be given a chance at least to, use their skills, use their time in exchange for money. But the problem is that the market currently prioritize technological advancements, prioritize AI to get the job done. And this is, no one knows for how long it is going to be. It might end up being forever. It might end up being the new standard. But these people, unfortunately, they have to figure it out the way to actually exchange their current skills and knowledge base with the skills and knowledge base about AI, either working alongside of the AI, improving the AI, or maybe starting their own business. We have seen plenty of stories, people without any prior technological background being able to utilize AI for either improving their own personal or professional lives. So I truly believe that these people will catch up with, because if you wait for the economy to fix itself or fix your life, you're gonna be waiting forever, unfortunately.
It's clear now that an employee is just one of thousands in a number on an Excel spreadsheet, as easy to remove as hitting the backspace key.
I don't know why you're not panicking. In 70 years, $100,000 will be worth only $10,000. And this is with average 3.4% annual inflation based on the last 5 years. And this is the most average low ball scenario. If we go the realistic expectations, which essentially means that the inflation will be even higher than 3.4% per year, this means that we might actually see this $100,000 melt buying power to $10,000 in halfway through time, 35 years, 40 years from now. Why are not you panicking?
Imagine working somewhere for 38 years and waking up to an email at 5:07 in the morning letting you know that you don't work there anymore because your job's been eliminated as part of a layoff. One person doesn't have to imagine that. Adam Bernard, a 38-year employee of General Motors, whose job was eliminated last week as part of a large layoff at GM.
You should be panicking. Your kids, you put $10,000 every single year, for example, in your kids' account, grow compounding without paying taxes, or with specifically tax executed strategy, limiting your tax exposure. And in the end of the day, after 30, 40 years, they're gonna wake up, they're gonna think that they have $1 million, but they're only going to have $100,000. They're only going to have $90,000. This is why you should start panicking right here, right now. This is not some fugazi metaverse expectations, simulations. We run the numbers based on adjusted inflation with an average of 3.4%, which was the average inflation for the last 5 years. And it's not going to remain at 3.4% because the Federal Reserve will continue printing money. Don't ask me why, this is a very long topic for a completely separate video. But they're going to print more money. Printing more money will increase the money circulation supply, which will increase the amount of money versus all the products and services provided into economy, which will create the balance of the services versus the actual paper value of the money, which will push the inflation even higher. More money will be worth less. This is why we meant that if the inflation is higher than 3.4% every single year for the next 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, well then you don't have to wait 70 years to see the buying power of 100k going down to 10k. You may be waiting 30, 35, 40 years to realize that, you know what, the prices are absolutely sky high. You still get the 100k, you still have the 100k in your account, but the 100k can only buy $10,000 worth of items. Imagine if today you could buy, let's say, some small, very old house in the middle of nowhere, some small city in some, not so expensive state, out of the borders of the downtown for 100,000. In 30, 40, 50, 60 years, you may only be able to put a down payment for the same amount because it will be equivalent to only $10,000. This is why people should start panicking now, immediately. Okay? You should understand that the cash, what was looked at always a reserve, which was always looked as a backup plan. If your investments are not performing, if your job is not giving you a raise, if let's say the assets that you have, that you inherit, are not increasing in value adjusted with the inflation, well, definitely you should look into plan B. Well, a lot of people still don't understand this. They're looking, the market is choppy, the market is going down, their friends losing money on the markets, they're looking, the crypto guys are losing money, they're looking at the people who bought real estate, and after they bought the real estate, after they set up all the legal, the paperwork, they work with brokers, they find tenants, they fix everything, and then they finally decide to do the math, and they found out that it will take them 25, 26 years actually to make some money, not crazy money, right? And not to mention that the usual appreciation of the real estate is taken away from the property taxes, which are increasing every single year. So the little appreciation that you're going to get, even if you have bought the property for 100,000 and after 5 years this property worth 200,000, you make 100% on your original investment. But guess what? The property taxes for the last 10 years have increased 25%, right? So a quarter of your unrealized profits, the upside of 100k, goes straight towards your property taxes. Then don't forget, you also have to pay taxes on the gains that you have on the real estate property. So you have all these hustles and bustles, you have all this work, physical, time-consuming work. You're involved in huge liability, right? Sure, the tax advantages of owning real estate are outstanding, unmatched, of course. But at the end of the day, you don't really make crazy money with real estate. And this is why a lot of people now trying to sell their properties. Everywhere I've seen, you just go on the websites that are selling businesses, or their people list their businesses for sale. You could see people who own multiple locations. And not talk only about real estate, we're talking about people who own vending machines. People are selling the whole chain neighborhood route that they own with vending machines. Like for example, you own 5th Avenue, like 45th Streets, you have vending machines throughout this path. It's all yours. You want to sell everything. You want to liquidate everything. You go and see people sell home service businesses with multiple locations. They have built infrastructure. They have people who they service like regular clients. People want out. You probably wonder why. Right? The same exact reason. When you realize that you're trading your time for money that are not actually getting more valuable but decreasing in value, well, you kind of put in the position that you exchange something for something else that loses value over time. So effectively, you are the end user, the end loser in this formula. So what people actually do, think about it. I'm gonna give you a very easy, simple example that you will be able to comprehend, right? A lot of people are using their checking account to pay off their credit card, right? But the checking account has no yield. You don't get interest on the checking accounts usually. Even if you get some, it will be the lowest possible. The smartest decision, even though might not make a huge difference, but it will make some difference, is that instead of having a checking account, you can have a savings account. And in your savings account, you pay off your credit card with your savings account. If you have, let's say, $10,000 in your checking account that you only use for paying off your credit card, right? If $10,000 sits in your checking account, you will be getting $1, $2 per month interest. If you put the same exact $10,000 inside the savings account, you will be getting $15 to $30 a month. You see what kind of a difference? You still use your savings account to pay off your credit card, but you're getting $50 to $20 to $30 depending of the APY that you're getting every single year, right? In your percentage interest, right? This is very, very important because a lot of people do the same exact thing, which effectively they're not only missing out on the opportunity to recoup most of the interest, but they're also missing out on the opportunity to not hold the cash inside the checking account. This is very, very interesting, and a lot of people do not know that you can use the savings account and paying multiple times a day, a week, a month, because there is a special, limitations of moving money in and out from the savings account. But when we're talking about paying off your credit card bill, this doesn't really count towards. This is why you need to understand that why would you leave a free money on the table? Knowing that if you bank with the same bank and if you have checking account and savings account with the same bank, why would you keep majority of it inside the checking account? That doesn't make any sense. There is a major paradigm shift that is happening as we speak. And the problem over here is that a lot of your friends and people that you know from school or probably you work prior with are currently in a very, very bad position. You probably have friends who used to have a very successful business, which is currently or recently closed. Probably had a lot of friends who had a very good profession, they have a very good career outlook, who were recently fired, right? And this paradigm shift represents the second part of the equation, the people who do not see this paradigm happening, people who really oversee the linear progression of the economy. They were preparing themselves academically and business-wise for an economy where everything was going to progress in a linear way. You get a job, you get a degree, everything is kind of more or less predictable in the future. If I want to start a business, I know exactly what I should do and how the business will grow. If I want to buy the house, I know how to get the house, the mortgage, how to get funds, how to manage the mortgage, so on and so forth. Same thing happened for the people with a career. They kind of prepared themselves for careers in a linear economy where they didn't expect the next paradigm, which in our case, we're talking about the AI revolution happening, or didn't believe that it is going to actually happen. So a lot of the people that you currently know, friends, family, are secretly broke. And things are not getting better. You just look around. You just look around. Think about people around you. It almost felt like during the last 2-3 years, everyone was kind of doing fine. Everyone was kind of doing okay. It has always been people who were doing better, making more money, growing their net worth, whatever. But almost like overnight, in the last, let's say, 24 months, everything snapped. Almost everyone got poorer. And the people who are doing well now are doing exceptionally well. And the gap actually exploded, expanded, right, in the levels that probably haven't heard of. And this is not only coming from the paradigm of economic non-linear development. We're talking about a shift where the skill set combined with lack of preparation for adjusting your not only mindset, but adjusting your skills and adjusting your knowledge base plays a determinational role. People who cannot adjust cannot survive. It's very, very simple to say it, hard to execute it, but I believe the hardest part is actually to see where the problem actually lies. Because like I said, a lot of people who were doing very, very well, they think about the last 2-3 years, people around you, your very immediate circle, doing some e-commerce, reselling some clothes, doing some Amazon, having some physical retail location. I guarantee you most of these people have either closed or lost business 20, 30, 40, 50%, and very soon they're gonna close, especially people with high paying jobs previously. They're the first people who were found themselves not needing, right? The people who were making 150 account manager, 150K, 200K, 300K account managers, all this date sorting, filtering, input lead generation positions who were essentially paper holders, completely are out of their mind, right? Imagine you graduate 8 years ago, you spent 6 or 7 years, you already think yourself to become a VP in whatever company you're working, and now you're out on the street. Why? The paradigm shift is happening. And this is not some science fiction. I want you to really understand the concept because when the paradigm shift happens during the first revolution, moving from actual horse carriages towards automobiles, right? The second revolution coming from actual plugging the engineering skills of the humans. A lot of people, if not most of the people, have no clue how this actually works. They didn't have idea how the car works, the combustion engine works. They didn't have idea how the electricity works. They didn't have idea how Nikola Tesla actually built the AC and how he converted and actually destroyed the DC of Edison. A lot of people weren't so sophisticated and weren't so interested in learning anything outside their original skills by training, whatever they learn in school, whatever they learned in universities. This is what they lived with. No one was actually going out of their way to learn something else on the side, or at least not deeply enough. You had some surface knowledge. Back in the days, people didn't even know where this country or that country outside the US actually was located. So you need to understand that people who lived with this mindset, they had to learn. And the good thing is that there was no distraction back in the days. People had nothing to do. You go to work, you finish work, and then nothing to do. Most people had no televisions back then. Then when the next revolution came, yes, some of them have radio, some of them have televisions, but still the distraction was not at the level that it is right now. So this means that people have actually focused, strict plan of execution or learning some of the skills. This is why a lot of people actually found jobs. When the US Steel was actually started and executed, a lot of people learned how to utilize steel, how to build bridges. A lot of people without engineering background learn how to do engineering, right? So this means that anyone can learn everything, regardless of the type of paradigm shift that is happening around the world. But a lot of your friends, I already guarantee you, they don't want to learn AI. They hate AI. And they secretly hope that AI will give up, AI will disappear. They secretly expect this is going to be just another bubble and everything will simply go away. I hope Michael Burry also hopes for the AI bubble because he's betting big against the market. But again, if you just hope on one thing, you're not really hedging, you're not really risk adjusting your bet. You should always prepare for the opposite. You should prepare yourself for being right. You should prepare yourself for being wrong at the same freaking time. What this means? Well, you can still hate the AI, you can still hate all the technology, you can still hate any tool that replaces the human skill that you previously possess, but you should also simultaneously prepare yourself to utilize the skill either for yourself in your personal life or utilize the skill to save it as a service. And I'm not just picking up stuff from the air. I got plenty of calls from different banks that I have business accounts with, right? And I got plenty of calls. And all of the banks, when we have a personal meeting one-on-one, they said, why don't pick up the phone? Why we cannot reach you out? I said, I already have an AI agent that filters and sorts out all the calls. Not only this, I have disabled the voice call. Why is that? Because the AI agent filters all the calls, and before the voice calls actually leave a small transcript on the phone, and this transcript can give a false directions to the AI agent. Can say, oh, this is the information you requested. You can just click here and find the information you requested, and the AI agent might get confused. They might click on links that shouldn't click. This is going back to the example. Regardless of what you think about AI, regardless of what you think about your current, financial or career path, you should hedge every single bet and prepare yourself to take part in the paradigm shift. Otherwise, you're going to be left behind the paradigm shift. You're going to be left with people who didn't believe in cars replacing the carriages, didn't believe that electricity will replace the gas lamps, didn't believe that the actual guns will replace the bows and arrows, and the people who were, not optimistic, didn't hedge their bet. No one said anything about them in the history. They were simply erased from the history. We replaced technology results, the results from all of these technological innovations replaced anyone who was skeptical of. Think about all the people who were writing articles in 19s that the internet is the next fad. The internet is the scam. It's nobody's going to be using. Same people who are talking that no one will ever own a personal computer because it doesn't make any sense. These people simply were washed out of the media, washed out from the social media space, washed out from the history because they were so wrong. Then ask yourself, do you want to be washed out from the history, or you want to take part of the history of this paradigm shift? Think about it.